You mentioned that you have, tendencies and crutch words and things like that. How do you work on your game, so to speak? I know people talk about getting reps, doing podcasting, doing live stuff. So how do you improve from one broadcast to the next?
You watch back. So professional teams will watch film on their opponents. Some will even watch film on themselves to pick up their own tendencies so they can switch things. Same way I will watch back some of my broadcasts, a majority of them, I would say, and try to figure out, okay, what could I have done better? Right. So I know that for me, I use a lot of filler words, which I'm sure I've done on this podcast itself to kind of take too long or explain too many different ways of a simplest thing that I could have broken down. So for me, it's like, hey, your crutch phrase is this, that, and the other. Why are you saying that? Is it because you're nervous and you don't know how to end it? Okay, if that's the case, what's a better way to end this sentence? What's a better way to shorten this statement? Because when you're doing sideline hits, you don't have a minute to talk about what you want to talk about. Sometimes it's in the middle of a play. You got to get your point across and go, especially if it's like the fourth quarter or whatever it is. So I watch things back. I see what worked. I see what didn't work. And then I'll kind of fix it in different ways. And I'll also watch, I kid you not, I literally, maybe a year ago when I was trying to get better and better, I YouTubed sideline reporters. And there were so many great examples from the NFL, the NBA. I even Googled how to commentate. And so just trying to learn and pick from different folks and see what they're doing and try to implement it in my own arsenal. But I watch back just about all my broadcasts in about 2x speed to see what I could have done better for sure. And then as I'm even broadcasting, I'll have notes of like, hey, here's where I could have done this better. Here's where I could have done that better. I'll like write it down timestamp so I know when I go back, I know exactly where to watch it.
Mhm. Yeah, I don't think it's different than any other profession or skill. I mean, you're going to get better with every rep that you do. You're going to want to look back at what you've worked on and things that you've put out and identify areas to improve, identify
Yeah.
things like that. So it's amazing to me that you're so self-made, that you didn't study this. You just decided one day I'm going to pursue this, and you kind of put
Yeah.
your head down and decided that this is going to be my profession. It's really inspiring, to be honest.
Yeah.
And
I
um,
appreciate that. You know what they say, YouTube University, and that's like I said, I'm a dropout. So for me, it's like I got to figure something out. And so even, I day trade for a living. That's where the bread and butter comes from. Even that was just from YouTube, learning things, making mistakes, paying my tuition to the markets, and just watching it back. Where did I mess up? Where did I make mistakes? How can I fix whatever? And finding like a community is the biggest thing, whether no matter what you're pursuing, because then you have folks that are looking to do what you're doing and you kind of have a brotherhood or a sisterhood moving along with it, or like a mentor who's already gone through what you're going through, I think is a big help in whatever career path one is pursuing.
yeah, and who was that for you? Who was? I mean, was it the brand ambassador that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah. So, I probably set myself up here, but I would say at the moment, I don't necessarily have a one mentor. We mentioned the Muslims in sports and athletics. I forgot the exact Slack group's name, but in July, I went to a event, a retreat for Ismaili Muslims in the sports world. And that's where I met a bunch of people that are, some of them are in the Slack group that we talked about, and some of them aren't yet. But, we got a chance to interact with Shams Charania. We got a chance to interact with Rahil Ramzanali, who does UFC play-by-play. We got a chance to hang out with Ali Khan Bojani, who used to work, I believe, as a beat writer or somewhere involved with the Rockets. So, I've been fortunate to not just have one individual where I can kind of go to them, but just have a community of like, hey, I'm looking to do this. I'm looking to do that. I met Shabazz, who we talked about creating that Slack group in LA a couple of months ago as well. So it's been a great privilege to kind of pick other people's brains. And I will say this, growing up, I was always scared to reach out to people because I thought no one cared. I was like, you know what? Why would they help me? I'm a nobody. It doesn't benefit them, yada, yada, yada. But then I kind of learned, I didn't have a car growing up. I didn't have a car until I was like maybe like, I don't even know, 21. And I would always need a ride whenever I went places, and I would always hesitate. And the story's top of my head, so it might not make sense. But I remember talking to someone else, and I was like, hey, I'm scared to ask this person for a ride, but I would really love to go to this youth camp or whatever. And that person I was talking to was like, dude, don't worry about it. The person you're hoping to ask for a ride got a ride from other people as well, so they'd love to. So what I mean by that is that people want to help others because someone helped them and they want to pay it forward. You know what I mean? And so I think it was me just getting in my own head in terms of like reaching out to people and seeking mentorship, where it's like, nah, man, some people may not want to, but from my experience, Sugar, a lot of people want to help, whether
Mhm.
it's in the smallest way, the biggest way. They may not get you to where you want to go, but they'll at least open up the door for you, or open up your eyes just a little bit to something that you weren't seeing, which was right in front of you.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that we as as a minority, as Muslims,
Yeah.
whatever it is, I mean, I think some of us have a tendency to gatekeep a little bit, and I think that's normal, right? Some folks, when they reach a certain level of success, they're like, "Well, I had to grind to get here, so you should do the same thing." I feel like it's the same people that like don't want to pay off student loans or something, or don't want student loan forgiveness. It's the same idea. Like, I had to grind to get here, so you should too. But I think the vast majority, to the best of their ability, will at least give you some
Absolutely.
of their time,
Absolutely.
and they're, from my experience, folks are super helpful regardless, Muslim or not. If
Yeah.
you come to them and they can tell that you're sincere and that you do really want their time and care about what they have to offer you, and
Yeah.
not just in terms of something tangible, a job or money or
Yeah.
whatever it is, just their advice, their
Yeah.
wisdom. I think they really, people enjoy that. People like to
Absolutely.
talk about their story, and people love
Yeah.
to help for the most part. So uh,
People love you. You nailed it. People love to hear themselves talk, not in a bad way, but just how we are as humans, and love to share their stories of how they've gotten where they are, because then they're hoping to inspire other people. And sometimes, you'll have folks that may not be able to help you. Like, I reached out to this one guy and I was like, hey, I feel like my broadcasting career is kind of stalled at the moment. I feel like I'm stuck. I'm hoping to talk to you to get some insights. And he was very sweet. He responded back, within 24 hours and said, hey, man, I'd love to help you, but unfortunately, I've got a baby on the way with my partner. Totally fine. I've had people who don't even, reach back out, and that's totally fine. Like, you've got to shoot your shot, not just in DMs of whoever you're pursuing in a romantic fashion, but just in networking. But I will say this: when you reach out to them, though, make it clear that you've put in the effort, right? Make it clear that, hey, I know who you are. I've followed you. I know that you've done X, Y, Z. Here's where I am. Here's what I'm looking to receive from your insight. Are you able to help me out? You know what I mean? Because everyone's going to slide into everybody's DMs. Everyone's reaching out to these people. So you got to make sure that you stand out in a way where you've put in the effort, so that they know that, all right, cool, I can help this person out. Matter of fact, I think it was Mr. Beast who, I saw a video or an article where he said people will always ask him, hey, how can I be successful becoming a YouTube creator or become, content creator? But those people sometimes will be the same people who haven't created a single video. So he'll tell them, cool, make 100 videos consistently every single day, then come ask me for help, right? Because you want to make
wow.
sure that they're, one, prepared and they're putting in their own work. And two, inshallah, by the time you've done 100 videos, you don't really need my help, or the help I give you is at a different level than what I would have done. So I would have spent 30 minutes with you as a beginner or as an intermediate, and this is just going to be so much better for you because you put those 100 hours in there, 100 videos, whatever it might be. So that's my take on networking. Like, I have people who
Mhm.
will DM me, be like, hey, how can I be a broadcaster, this and that. Thankfully, I'm not a big timer. I'm a very small, broadcaster. So I have the time. And when I do, I'll say, hey, cool, let's hop on a Zoom call and I'll walk through it with you. But I know that, like, hey, inshallah, as I start making a real career out of this, I still want to help people, but it's got to be a bit more effective with my time as well. So same thing for other people. Like, make it worth their time. Make it easy for them to help you.
Exactly. Yeah, you
Yeah.
need to remove all the barriers and make
Yeah.
it clear that you're sincere in your ask. You are actually looking for advice and not just FaceTime to sell them something or plug something or whatever it
Yeah,
is. And
exactly.
I was at a talk recently with a brother who is at Founders Inc. So it's a company in San Francisco that helps startups and things like that. And
Yeah.
he said something that really struck me. And he said, if you're all you're looking for is yeses, why are you counting the no's? And I
Yeah.
was like, this is brilliant. I mean, no wonder you're a founder of Founders Inc. It was,
Yeah.
I was like, because I think we do get caught up on the no's when we're
Yeah.
asking for help or asking for advice. And you keep track of, man, 100 people, if you're in sales, if you're in whatever, oh man, 100 people didn't buy my product today, or 100 people didn't respond to my DMs. But it's like, why does that matter?
Yeah.
All you care about is the yeses. And I think that's a great reminder.